playground!
Hooray!
SBK!
Fangers, welcome to episode 5 of the SBK Show podcast. Time to cast, time to do the show, time to first start the show by saying thank you. I appreciate everybody who has reached out to me, who has been consuming the show. More and more people are subscribing every week. And man, you know, there is a lot to be thankful for. Because the thing that's special about a podcast, unlike some of the other, you know, like radio, hey, radio, suckers never play me. On the mix, they just okay me. Shout out to Chuck D. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the whole. I don't even know what I'm talking about here. What I'm saying is that when it comes to radio, show comes on. You turn it on and boom, there it is. Talk radio, a little more intimate than a regular traditional music radio station. But when it comes to a podcast, it's something that you have to seek out. It's something that you have to jump through a hoop, or somewhat of a hoop. If you consider your phone is already in your hand, probably turning off one app and going to a podcast app and searching for whoever it is you're looking for, downloading that episode, subscribing to it, and then hit play. And you may or may not have your notifications on. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I don't have notifications on my phone to let me know that the podcast came out. I don't need to, because it's a part of my routine. I am looking for it. Just like this show is supposed to come out every Monday by 6 p.m., which means it may very well come out at 6 p.m. or it may come out sometime on Monday, but definitely by 6 p.m. it's going to be up. That is what I'm shooting for. That is what I'm aiming for, unless life happens. And if life happened, man, who knows what you're going to get. Sometimes you would think that, after doing radio for so many years and providing 4 hours of entertainment, like I said, you would think this would be easy for me to do. But man, it's so much anticipation that whole week thinking about the next episode, as opposed to, I had a smaller version of that every day. What am I going to talk about? What am I going to say? What is it going to be? What is the subject? What's the topics? What's hot? What do people care about? What do they don't care about? What do I care about? What do I care about? Yeah. So, because I feel like whatever I care about and I talk about it, I'll be more passionate about it than going, oh, these stories are trending. These stories are hot. Let me give you a half thought out take. No, but you have to seek out a podcast. So once you seek it out, you're probably a little bit more into that than you were the randomness that you're going to hear at a radio outlet. Either way, I just appreciate everybody who listens to the podcast. And, some of you are my friends and you may be downloading it and not listening to it and just trying to just like shoot me a little support as far as just saying, yeah, man, I listen. It's cool. I get it. Usually the people that are the closest to you will consume your podcast the least. Like, I don't expect people to listen to the podcast just because maybe, like former coworkers or former people that I used to work with. No, because I don't listen to radio. Does that mean I don't support them? No, doesn't mean that at all. And I'm talking about for my entire radio career. I, in general, do not listen to terrestrial radio. I have nothing against it. I was in it. I was all about it. But it was kind of like listening to work. It eventually turns to work to me, which probably was a sign that it wasn't a space for me anymore. But nevertheless, I just don't listen. But I really didn't listen because I didn't want my opinion to get tied up with, hey, wait a minute. Did I think that? Did I say that? Did I hear that? I don't know. So I tried to stay in my own lane. Then I had to realize that I was me. And then me being me, as long as I'm going to be me, I don't have to worry about echoing what somebody else says. But I learned that a little too late. But I know it now. So with the anticipation that I had every day, now I have a little like anxiety, or I guess you call it nervousness, or which is good. I think you need to have a little nervousness. And, once you start mailing it in and you don't sound hungry and you just sound like the big old fat tiger or lion that's in the cage, and they bring you the meat, you don't have to hunt no more. You just kind of like, look, I'm a lion with wow. Like, you ain't really rowing no more. You just kind of like just waiting for somebody to bring you some meat. Sometimes it's good to get in a situation where you have to hunt and you have to eat what you kill, as opposed to just going in and it's turnkey and you're not even doing it anymore for the love. You doing it, you watching the clock. And once you watching the clock and you're an entertainer like this, man, you letting a lot of people down, yourself and everybody that's listening. So I have to kill what I eat. And I appreciate your support. Everybody who donated on the PayPal, the Venmo, what's that other thing? The Cash App. All of those links are in the description of the show. If you see the need to get on the Help a Brother Out plan. No, my friend. What I'm saying is that I really appreciate everybody who sent a couple dollars my way. And hopefully soon there will be something that you could subscribe to. Now, last week, I was telling you I was adding more layers to the show. Where are they? Well, you won't hear them on this episode. No, you won't. I'm still in the works of connecting with some people that I need to make the connections with to bring forth on the show. Basically, just trying to put all my ducks in a row. Nevertheless, this is my favorite time of the year. Starting with Halloween. I'm not the biggest Halloween guy, even though I love horror movies. My only critique on Halloween, and I probably said this, look, get used to hearing me kind of say things that I said before. Maybe I'll say it again, and then I'll add a little more to it. Or maybe I'll say it again like I said it for the first time. And because I don't have anybody going, hey, man, you said that. And I listen to the podcast maybe in chunks, but I don't like go back and listen to my own podcast. I think that doesn't work for me. Maybe if I had a guest on here and I was interviewing them, I would want to go back and listen to something. But I kind of remember it in the moment. I try to stay focused and locked in the moment. I won't miss anything. Now, if I had a big guest, maybe I would go back and listen. But probably not. So sometimes I'm going to rehash some things. And guess what? I may contradict myself because, well, I'm just human. The problem I have with Halloween, only one critique. I love it. But I think that the way that we're doing it now is stupid. I think Halloween is rooted in horror. I don't think it's rooted in, you see a lot of people, hey, I dressed like, let me give you an example. I dressed like Will Ferrell from Anchorman. Okay, so is it like a day where you try to look like somebody? Is it simply about being somebody that you're not? The fantasy of that? No, man, it's about Dracula. It's about blood. It's about being scared. Trick or treat. Nobody embraces the trick. It's about something rooted in something dark. And I ain't talking about the devil. I know some people don't celebrate Halloween. They think it got something to do with the devil. Hey, maybe it does. I don't know. But man, I want to see some blood. I want to see some gore. I want to be scared. I want to think I'm about to get killed. I want to kill people. At least like not literally, but like I want you to be shaken. I want you to be disturbed. That's why we look for the scary movies, for lack of a better thing to call them. We look for the scary movies that come out on Halloween. Like that's the season for it. It's the season of the witch. trickery, things that you can't really explain, things that'll make you go grab the yapper or the chopper and see what's cracking. Get low, get on the floor, start bucking, grab a sharp knife, grab a dull knife, sharpen it, have it in your hand, get 2 knives in your hand. I'm stabbed first thing come running through that door. Happy Halloween, trick or treat. Don't get on the wrong side of it. Anyway, I'd like to see people doing that. I see people doing these weird things. Of who are you supposed to be? Guess. And it's like some kind of puzzle, some kind of riddle. Man, you do better just gone putting on a white shirt and dump a bucket of blood over your head and be like, what are you? I'm the victim. Or something. I don't know. And then, but I'm not going to try to shut down the sexy whatever it is you want to be. That's what it is. Anyway, that's my only critique on Halloween. It ain't scary no more. It's just like it's a day. It's a costume party. You don't even have to wait. Why? If you love Halloween, you like dressing up and being something it's sexy or being something different, or hey, I kind of look like this person. Let me dress up and look like one of the Golden Girls. What the hell is that all about? I want to be Cinderella. Well, okay. Good luck, dude. But I don't get it. I thought you were supposed to be scary. I thought that's what it was about. But I guess I'm old. And I sounded. Anyway, do what you want to do. Why wait a whole year to do that? If you want to do something, be somebody you're not. Most people trying to be somebody they're not all the time. Just don't. Why do that once a year? Why not have a costume party in the middle of the spring? You just don't see it. I guess we're locked into, I guess that's some sort of tradition, but we're locked into just kind of following the calendar and just on this day it says this, so I guess we're supposed to do this. Like I said, the season has begun. Next up, Thanksgiving. I will be participating. And by participating, I mean eating. That's it. When you having Thanksgiving, yeah, it's about family. It's about getting together. It's about totally disrespecting the Native Americans. It's about really about eating, traveling to go eat. It's a lot that you go through just to get a decent plate of food. The food needs to be good on Thanksgiving. Whether you are eating turkey, for some reason, that's the time to eat the turkey. Like you can't get turkeys. Yo, if you go to the grocery store a week after Thanksgiving, they will be throwing turkeys at you. Maybe not this year. I'm hearing there's a food shortage. I don't see no food shortage, and I'm getting fat. I don't know how that's happening because I'm exercising more than ever, but I'm eating even more than I'm exercising. So I'm not even like exercising to stay even. I'm like just eating. Man, we could talk about the eating later. Let me continue on this journey, which is my favorite season. Now, we're heading into Thanksgiving, like I said, which is basically a good meal that you travel for. And, you take your young kids to go see their grandparents and tell them weird stories and let them know they're connected to something bigger than just you and your goofy little family, that you got some kind of legacy going. And, grand folks, great grand folks and the elders in your family, they're a little more mysterious because, and I think I heard Tom from Tom and Dan say this one time. Think of these pictures. I see these pictures of my granddaddy and my great granddaddy, and it might just be him standing in the backyard with an axe in his hand. And he's looking at the camera. No explanation, no nothing. No caption. He don't have nothing written at the bottom of the picture going, it's the sharp blade for me. No, you don't know what he just did with that axe or what he was getting ready to do with that axe. You probably don't want to know. But looking at that picture, we can just sit there and fantasize about what was Granddaddy doing with that axe. Ain't no trees in the backyard. He didn't like to go outside. We don't know what was happening. He didn't quite have a smile on his face. We couldn't understand what that expression on his face was. He might have had gas. Was he just finished chopping on somebody, or was he headed to chop on somebody? And what did they do to piss him off? Or maybe somebody owed him money. Or maybe he owed somebody money, got tired of them asking about it, and he was going to go put an end to all of this foolishness. I don't really know what was happening, but that's the beauty of it. We can actually have a conversation. I'm glad it's not a video. I'm glad that it's kind of blurry and the picture looks vintage, and we just don't know what he was doing with that axe. A little mysterious kind of stuff. That you only get that at family gatherings. You get those stories that you may have thought you knew the story, but you don't know the story. You might have thought that that's how it happened. You've been telling your kids the wrong version of a story or something like that. But that's Thanksgiving. Whatever you're eating, man, eat good. Eat too much. Get uncomfortable. And that's what it's all about. Stay sober enough to drive your family back home because you don't want to be caught up. Or maybe you're ready to do some Black Friday kind of shopping stuff, which I've never done before. Won't be doing it this year. Maybe online. I like the online stuff. I just, there's nothing that I need to buy per se. There's nothing that I'm looking forward to as far as sales go or stuff like that. I'm trying to hoard my money to buy that crypto and them NFTs. Yeah, that's what it's all about. The future. Yeah. So Thanksgiving, that's coming through. That's going to be good. And then it goes into Christmas and the other holidays that we celebrate at that time. You have Hanukkah. What do you have? You also have, Three Kings, Kwanzaa, and whatever else you can fit in there. Some stuff I never heard of. Some of you, it's just the time of the year where it gets cold and everybody slows down and you don't believe in none of that shit, but you got to do it because, well, that's what the world's doing and that's what you got to do. It's going to happen whether you want to or not. But I want to say the onset of all of that season is for me, my connection to the beginning of the season that I love the most. Like I always said, if I were a rich man, I would take off the last, October, November. I would take off October, November, and December of every year if I were a rich man. But being an unemployed man, I am taking off October, November, and December. You know, being unemployed is a lot like being rich, but you don't have the money and you have no idea where the money's going to come from. So you do something to occupy your time when you're not really doing other things that are your primary focus. Hence the podcast, SoulBrotherKevin.com. And that's where it is. But growing up in North Florida, in Tallahassee, the fair came to town. And when the fair would come to town, in my mind and connecting it back to being a child, man, that's when it was just a thing. The fair brought with it the first cold snap, definitely letting you know that summer, those high humidity, upper 90 degree summers in Tallahassee, where you sweating your ass off in the shade, even at night, is muggy, as they would call it. You know what I'm talking about. And it would be a couple of things that would happen all at once that would kind of signify the beginning of my favorite season. That first cold snap, the North Florida County Fair would come to town. It would also be around the time where FAMU was having its homecoming. When I was in high school, my high school homecoming. And then there was just a mix of things, man, where not just from being a child, but then going on in the high school where Friday night you'd have the football game. And then after the football game, you get your little 16-year-old girlfriend. You got your little car, had a little Honda Civic with 212s in the back, quadding down the street, putting a needle in the rig on base for a chicken head, all that kind of stuff. Man, we would go to the fair, get that all access pass, ride all the rides, And then you got to try to be a hero by the end of the night and win that teddy bear. Well, then the next day was a FAMU home game or FAMU homecoming, and then you try to go back to the fair again to do what? The same damn thing. It was just, that's what it was. Now, Tallahassee didn't have the biggest fair. It's not as big as the fair was in Orlando. It's not as big as the fair was in Tampa, but it's the fair that I knew. Still had the animals and all of, the little pig races and all of the foods that you want to eat. But it just had a certain thing that really connected with me. So I had the opportunity to go to the fair. I was in town from November 4th to the 14th. I went to the fair Friday night, this past Friday, which I think would have been the 12th. If not, you know what I'm talking about. Fair opened at 5 p.m. So I find myself looking for a park out there about 5:05. That's about the time I went there. Went to the fair, stood in a long line. I didn't know that many people would be getting there that early. Even though there were a lot of people in the line, only cost $5 to get in. Now I knew I wasn't going to get on any rides. I was there for like everything but the rides. But mostly I was there to eat. And I had to do the walk around. But I have to say that for a guy who his only outings really are to Walmart. I love Walmart, by the way. I have a deep like obsession level with Walmart at this point. I don't know why. I've never been into a store per se, but I'm into Walmart. I just like the fact that you can get everything there. But besides that, I just like Walmart. I don't know why, have no idea why, but I find myself in a Walmart quite often. Sometimes I'll just walk around and sometimes I'll buy stuff. 99% of the times I buy stuff, but sometimes I have gone in Walmart, not consciously, but I guess I was looking for something and they didn't have my size in it. A shirt or a hoodie or some socks or whatever. They don't have what you want, and then you end up leaving the store and you don't buy anything. I know that's kind of weird, but love Walmart. Why am I talking about Walmart when I was supposed to be talking about the fair? I don't know. Let's go back to the fair. Oh, it's one of the few places that I've gone that made me feel normal. And what I mean by normal is after being cooped up, like an activity, something to do. Now, I went solo. I have no problem being solo. I'm even more comfortable solo because can't really let myself down. Can't really be late on myself. It's me on my own time. I can do what I want to do. Can do something that's stupid. Like, I don't eat at every place that I encounter. I can do whatever. And just, I don't need to validate my experience with somebody to bounce it off of. Just only child stuff, just work with me here. I go in the fair and the first thing that hits me, it feels the same. Maybe because it's at the same place. But I know that the rides that I used to like are still being set up. And this is like 30 years later. Like they're still being set up in the exact same place that they were set up. And so the layout of the fair kind of looks like what I was used to before. It kind of looks like just so familiar. And that made me feel good. That made me reminisce and all the good times I had at the fair, and just a lot of memories and stuff that I'd forgotten about were coming back to me as I'm walking around this fair thing. There were a handful of people with masks on, but I might have been one of the only people with a mask on out there. And there were, I would say, 65% of the people had masks on. There were teenagers, there were preteens, there were mostly families. And I have to say that the family situation, yeah, that walking around that fair made me think of what it would have been like to have a family and take them to the fair and see if my kids, or if I could give my kids that same experience that I had when I was a kid, that I loved so much that I felt so connected and drawn to it now, in my late 40s. I still had that childlike feeling that it was just magical. I guess it's a lot of stimuli. It's a lot of stuff happening. How often can you go somewhere with bright lights and all the sweets and all of the great foods in excess? Everything is in excess at the fair, like no matter what you get to eat, it's just, they got way too much sugar in it, way too much sauce on it, way too much butter on it, and it's all good. And you can't eat it all. Or can you? One of the few places you can get a frozen banana dipped in chocolate and nuts, caramel apple, candy apple. They had the corn going. Did I take a picture of the corn? The corn was insane. They had like garlic, butter. Then they had the Mexican corn, the elote. I think I took a picture of the corn thing. Didn't I take a picture of the corn? I should have. I wanted some. I didn't get any corn. Oh, wow. I took a picture of a whole bunch of stuff, but I didn't take a picture of the corn thing. There's me and a cow. I took a picture of a funnel cake, and then I took a picture of an elephant ear, and I text those to my mom so she could show my dad, because I was going to make my rounds, do what I do, and then I was going to buy an elephant ear to bring home to my dad, because he had been talking about one forever, and I was trying to get him to see the difference between the elephant ear and the funnel cake. You see, your elephant ear is fried dough, like a donut, and your funnel cake is fried batter, like a pancake, but fried. Either way, went with the traditional elephant ear with the little cinnamon sugar on it, fresh out the grease. You got to eat that sucker right when you get it, or it's just ends up being some tough bread, deep fried tough bread with a little seasoning on it. That's how that works. So I walked around the fair, did the entire loop, checked out all the food. Then I decided, what was I going to eat? I went there in my mind, I was going there to get the steak tips with the mushrooms and the potatoes. That's what I had in my mind. But I also knew that I wanted some chicken on a stick. I was thinking about the sausage man, not to be confused with the meat man, but the sausage man. That display of the sausage it's the Italian sausage, I believe, sometimes that's in the spiral with the onions piled up and all that on that flat griddle. Man, just visually, it's so stunning. It's so stimulating. You just, oh my goodness. I wish I could get like a little sampler of all this stuff that I like. Then they got the foot-long corn dog. I know they got the regular corn dog. And you can get a corn dog a lot of places, but not really the places that I roll. I don't know. And what I'm talking about is deep fried right out of the grease. Not when you go to the store and they sell corn dogs. That's not the same, bro. It's got to be coming out that grease. Or, I don't want nothing to do with it. So you can go whatever direction you want to go, with the sweet or the savory. Here's what I did. I found the beer tent. Local brewery. Man, I ain't take a picture of nothing. You would have thought me doing a whole damn half a podcast about going to the fair, and I didn't take a picture of anything. Here's a picture of some people's feet. Here's a picture of me with a chicken on a stick that don't look like a chicken on a stick. Here's me filming the guys making the chicken on a stick on charcoal, and grill, like a charcoal grill type of thing, but a long charcoal grill. I would love to cook at the fair. It's crazy. And Here's the finished chicken on the sticks that I have. And then there's a picture of me and a cow, which is the show picture for the podcast this week for episode 5. I don't have a title yet. Usually I come up with a title after I'm done editing and I'm putting the picture together. That's when I come up with the title. Found the beer tent. Went with, a lot of times I like to check out, it's like when I go to a pizza place. I like to check out your basic cheese slice. I like to see what you're working with just on a slice of cheese level. Then I'll get my pepperonis, my mushrooms, and my sausage on your second slice. I like to go with your lager. Your run-of-the-mill garden variety lager. That's got to be probably the entry-level beer, the beer that you would give people that, I want something that doesn't taste overpowering like beer. I want something that's good, but I don't have to know something about it. I don't have to cut it with a knife. I don't have to chew on it. You know, you don't want those kind of beers, not as your first beer. And they'll usually have about 3 or 4 offerings. They'll have the lager. They'll have the IPA, and then they'll have 2 other beers. Whatever direction they want to go in, they say, okay, we probably make about 12 beers, but here are the 4 most popular ones, you know, that kind of thing. But I flipped it a little bit, and I went with the IPA. Have more of a taste for that type of beer out of the gate now, more so than I used to. It's kind of what I like, and IPA, I expect it to taste like a High Life. A cigar brewing company, High Life. That's what I expect it to taste like. Somewhere in that realm. Give you that kind of flavor profile. And this did, but it was good. I really wish I knew the name of this local brewery. I'd know it if I saw the name on something, but I don't know what it was. Now I was in another world. I was 12 years old again, and I was 16 years old again, all at the same time. But I'm a grown-ass man, so I had that beer, bruh. So had the beer, then I walked around a little bit more, saw the cow, saw the goats, asked way too many questions to this one guy about cows. Let's see. Then I heard them setting up for the little piggy race. But then at that point, I had been there for about an hour. And an hour in, everybody's pouring into this place now. And I'm starting to get a little uncomfortable. Kind of had the run of the place. Even though there's people in the line outside, not as many as you think. Had kind of the run of the place. And well, what I was really there to do was eat and get the elephant ear and go home. But the thing about it was I sat down. Even in the beer garden area, I sat there. I was at a table by myself. There weren't a lot of people around. It wasn't packed at all. Had my beer. Checked out the scores. They had like football game, whatever Friday night game was on. They had that on. I'm looking around and I'm just chilling. I'm just not really doing anything. Not into my phone. Not doing anything crazy. But then I got up. I had the beer. And I went and got the chicken on a stick. And I can't tell you that I was locked and loaded about the chicken on a stick. Like, that's not what I was really there for. I was really there for the steak tips. But for some reason, when I went up to the steak tip lady, I said to myself, I'm not going to get the steak tips because, I know exactly why. I was hungry then, and the plan was to get a steak tips to go because I wouldn't have been able to eat all of the steak tips in one sitting. And it costs way too much for me to eat like half of it and throw it away. Yo, you talking like $15 for them steak tips. And then you're saying $15 and with the mushrooms and I don't know, no onions. I think they have peppers. I didn't want peppers. And I wanted the mashed potato where they take the whole potato and they mash that sucker, even with the rind on it. Or the hull, whatever y'all call it. I don't know the peel, what do you call it? The outside, the skin. Yeah, they mash that sucker. Looks good. I've had it before. It's great. But for some reason, that chicken on stick just jumped out at me. I watched the guy pulling it out to marinate, slapping on the grill. He grilling it and turning it around and slathering that sucker with the slathering sauce. That's what I'm going to call my barbecue sauce. So, Brother Kevin, slathering sauce. You better come get slathered, girl. Girl, what time you coming over? I'm going to slather you. I'm going to slather. Yeah, we did the chicken on the stick. Like a whole damn breast chopped up. Like a big fat breast, big juicy breast. It's hard to cook chicken good, man, other than wings. To keep the juicy and stuff. It was very juicy, very good. Put a little bit of hot sauce on it, like a drizzle on like the first 2 pieces. And then I just let it rock. I peel it off the stick. I don't really hold the stick up and eat it like that. And then I eat, because then, you know, then you have the chicken pieces together. It's probably like 8 of them on there. And you probably eating a little piece of the first one and the second one. And I like to deal with each chicken chunk that's on the stick as its own separate transaction. I'm not trying to like corn on the cob, like you're just going down the side, eating the meat off the stick. That look crazy. That's not how I do it. Eat the chicken on the stick, went back, got me another beer. This time I got the lager. And this isn't even a full pour. Man, this is like it's not a full 16-ounce pour. It's more like a 9-ounce pour, but they charging $6 for these things. Yeah. So I had 2 of those. That's $12. I had the chicken on a stick. Yo, that sucker was $10. So, and then $5 to get in. So let's do some quick math. What do you got there? You got the chicken on, you got the beers at 12, chicken on a stick with 22, and then you put the 5 on, that's 27, and then $10 for the elephant ear. That's $37. 2 beers, chicken on a stick, elephant ear. And then $5 to get in. Did I throw that on there? I don't even know when I was doing the math. But man, just imagine if you had another chick there with you. We probably would have split the chicken on a stick, but then we would have had to get something sweet, because women love some sweets and they love the chocolate. So we probably would have had to get some sort of dessert, or maybe she don't like chicken. Maybe she was on a whole nother vibe. So I have to get her something, and then we splitting that. Yeah, that's easily, well, it's about the same as going to a night out in a restaurant, drinks. Yeah, so it's not that bad. Not that bad. I just didn't want to be wasteful. When it came time to leave, I totally forgot about the steak and mushrooms. Not until I got the elephant ear, got in the car, halfway home, then I think about it and I go, oh, I forgot the steak tips. Then I looked at myself and was like, yo, man, you didn't have a steak before. You never cut it up into tips. Snap out of it. You'll be all right. And I was all right. But I said I was going to go back Sunday, because Saturday's football. Sunday's football too, but I could have slid out the house because the fair opens at noon on a Sunday, on the last day. And, you know, on the last day, they make them steak tips a little extra tippier. You know what I mean? They give you a little. That's when they kill all the cows in the back that was on display. And they'll give you a nice old, what you want off of him. Remember him? You want the ribeye on him? He had a big old ribeye. And you get that ribeye off of him, and it tastes so good. And you be like, yeah, you knew that cow, didn't you? You saw that cow Friday. That's him. That's him right there. Nah, that wouldn't work. So then, that's it. Had a great time at the fair. Reminisce. Thought about some good times growing up. Saw the families. Got jealous. Made me wish I'd made better choices, and that I'd have a wife and kids today, and I could have took them at the fair and spent way too much money, and then I would have did a podcast complaining about that. But instead, I went out there and fought and won my desire to buy a Squid Game mask, because, hey, what you gonna do with that?
What's up, Kevin? This is Jamaican Andrew here. Yeah, man, just found your podcast about a week ago. Loving it so far. Just finished episode 3. I'm sure, as you know, the end of it got cut off a little bit. I'm dying to hear what you got to say about 4-star reviews, man.
Nah, bro. I didn't know that shit cut off. I went back and listened. And you're right. It did cut off. What was I going to say? I want to thank everybody who reviews the show on Apple podcast, iTunes, or whatever you listen to it on. Whatever you listen to it on, I would appreciate it if you would give me a review. But I have an issue with 4-star reviews. Here's what you missed, Andrew. And I did cut off the last 8 seconds of the show. So here it is. I found it. I fucked up. If you're on Apple or iTunes podcast, please review the show. Give me 5 stars. Yo, give me 5 stars. I can understand 1 star, but you listen. I appreciate that too, but not 4 stars. Yo, I got to talk about that next time. Yeah, somebody gave me 4 stars. Why give me 4? Y'all don't understand how the algorithm works. If you give me 4 stars, you might as well give me 1. That's how that works. Fingers.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to rate the podcast and just want to know how everything's along with the Patreon. If you got it up and running yet, I'm sure that'll be in the notes of your next podcast. But yeah, man, definitely going to check it out and subscribe to the show. Always ready to support you, man. I'm glad to hear you back, and I know that everything's going to go well for you, man. You're definitely made for radio. So take care. Hopefully we can link up soon. Bye, man.
Man, Andrew, thanks for calling, man. Thanks for your support. Had to put that Patreon business on hold. I know Patreon is that's where you go. That's what you do. I have something else that I have cooking right now that I think is a better business model for me than Patreon. It'll be something that will be limited in nature, something exclusive. I'm trying to build the SBK universe, the SBK verse. I am trying to build my own niche community. That's all I'll say about that. SoulBrotherKevin.com is being remade right now in the background, and it will relaunch. When it relaunches, it will relaunch with an exclusive situation that I don't want to tip my hat to. I don't want to really say I'm not going to tip my hat. I don't want to tip my hand of what direction I'm trying to go, but let's just say less is more. And I have less. I have less to give you that will be more. That doesn't make sense now, but when I relaunch the website, it will make sense. So until then, for everything concerning me, you can still go to SoulBrotherKevin.com, because I tell you what, I paid a subscription for that every month, and you can't get shut down on that like you can on YouTube, Instagram, any of these social media people that you're feeding your content to that are owned by other people. And you just can't do it. You got to go and have your own platform. And that's what I'm trying to build out, but in a different way. You'll see soon. But thanks.
Weed Mount Rushmore? Funny answer? Smoky, 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 Smoky. Real answer? Think you got it right, man. At least you put, basically somebody from every decade that ruled the weed world. Thanks, SBK. Bangers.
Okay, in you, Smokey. I should really be prepared for this, because Smokey's talking about the weed Mount Rushmore that I did on the last episode, I believe. And I want to say, I'm going to try to repeat it from memory. Watch me blow it. Snoop Dogg, Bob Marley, Cheech and Chong, and I don't know if I counted them as one or not, Willie Nelson, Cheech and Chong, Bob Marley, Snoop Dogg, Willie Nelson. Who else did I put on there? There ain't no weed ladies. Who the weed lady? I know they'll smoke all your weed, but I don't know who the weed lady is. Maybe I did that wrong. Maybe I said the wrong people. I'm going to have to rethink that. Maybe we'll put Smokey up there.
Yo, what up, big dog? It's the Beat Man. So I had to stop in the middle of episode 4 to comment about bacon, son. You know we love bacon, us fat guys. Oh, man. So my new kick is oven. I cook it in the oven. But I don't know how to do just like a pan of it. I do like 4 pans at a time, and I sprinkle a little bit of applewood smoke right on it. Then I bake it. Gotta get nice and crispy. I like it. So when you hold it, it don't bend too much. It's kind of good. And you got that greasy fat on the side. That's good bacon. But, we like to cook. So I guess down with you, bro. Love the show. Love you. Hope all's well. Stangus.
And you, look at this guy, the meat man, coming through with the bacon. Dude, I paused this episode that I'm recording right now, and I had to make some bacon. What is this thing saying? Pick a time, remind me later, restart now, remind me later. Why is Windows trying to make me do they're trying to get me to do an update while I'm doing the show. And why am I even using Windows? I'll tell you why. But yes, the bacon. Yeah, you like it firm. You like that bacon firm. Meat man can't even make one pan of bacon. He has to make 4 trays. I get it, man. Look, I miss cooking so much. Of all the things that I did, I miss cooking. I miss throwing down. I miss giving somebody something that I have created and seeing the joy of them enjoying the food. That's really what it's all about. It's really all about the people enjoying your food. Yeah, I love to cook.
Man, you all up on my alley today. Ham steak, bro. Ooh, me, man, love ham steak. And put that in the skillet. Ooh, gotta get it nice. It almost folds up. Oh, God, man, ham steak. Thank you. I'm hungry now, bro. Holla.
Meat man, one more time on that ham steak. Bro, I love the ham steak because you don't have to be fully committed to the ham steak like a whole ham. And why do they call the ham the ham? The ham should be the butt because the ham is actually the ass and the butt is actually the shoulder. Maybe they're trying to throw you off, or maybe the shoulder looks like a butt. Now, if your booty look like your shoulder, I don't know what to tell you, but I love that ham steak, bro. I think I'm gonna go get me a ham steak tonight, but I stopped eating swine. I forgot I'm a vegan.
What up, SBK? It's Mike the Locksmith. Y'all appreciate those words of encouragement. I should have said, once I get my thing going, my family will come up there. I'm not leaving them behind forever. But my wife's goal is to open an Airbnb, a bed and breakfast. It's a perfect spot. You're always welcome. I had to play that segment at the restaurant like 3 times. I'm white. My wife is Hispanic.
Wait a minute, Mike. You white? Are you sure? Who told you was white? Brother, I could have sworn that you were Hispanic, but your wife is Hispanic. Maybe I flipped it. I thought y'all both were Hispanic. I thought you had a Hispanic last name. Man, that's crazy.
She's seen me get discriminated of other races. I've seen her get discriminated. We stand up for each other. That guy has no excuse. You need to do something. That stuff is not just, I'm going to be racist. It's taught. If we don't break that system, it's going to be a thing. It's 2021, and we should not be doing that. There's no way, no reason, no how people should be treated like that. And I'm sorry you got treated like that. I feel bad. There's no reason, man. Call them out. Figure out who they are. If he's not getting business, he's going to have to close, like point blank. Man, I'm going to stop rambling. Fingers.
And yeah. It's all good, man. Don't apologize for rambling. I do it for 1 hour every week, and I appreciate you listening. Here's the thing. Just didn't really have time to get to that. Had so many other things to do, just like when it happened in the moment. And what Mike is referencing, if this is your first time listening, the last episode, episode 4, I had an incident where a guy at the restaurant, one of the owners, called me the N-word. Yes. Norbit. That's what he's referring to. And I was going to do something about it because when you don't do something about stuff like that and you just let it go, it'll happen again. It'll happen to the next person. And the person who's doing this stuff will just keep on going and it'll just never stop. And I think about that when it comes to victims, people who've been victims of crimes and stuff like that, like sexual assaults and stuff, where you don't want to go through this whole rigmarole. You've just kind of absorbed it. But when you absorb that pain, it shall happen again. And you don't want that happening to people you know. You don't want people spending money at a place or at least inform them. Because the sad thing about it, if I was to go out and do something to let everybody know what happened to me there, a lot of people would be like, well, that's just you. I don't care. Them shrimp good, dog. And there won't be any solidarity. There ain't no solidarity in 2021. It's self. But that's not the reason why I shouldn't do anything. I just haven't had a chance to do that. I had to put my energies into that which mattered the most, which is what I did in the moment as well. So you're right. If I don't say something about it, then it's going to keep happening, and they're going to keep smiling at people and taking their money and N-wording them behind their back, man. And that's some bullshit.
Hey, Kevin, what's going on? How you doing? This is Ray Mello from Sing Bitch fame, calling from Abu Dhabi. I just wanted to chime in and hear your thoughts about the tragedy that happened in Houston with Travis Scott and Astroworld. I'm looking at it from both perspectives, as a musician who plays on stage and deliver the goods with the audience. As a musician, I have an obligation to make sure that everyone has a good time, but at the same time, making sure that everybody is safe and protecting each other. And
slow down just a second, Ray Mello, good friend of mine. Here is what I'll tell you about Travis Scott. I agree there's enough of liability to spread around, but Travis Scott is not in charge of security. And I don't know how many people you've played on stage in front of. There's a difference if it's a packed bar versus 50,000 people with stage lighting and stage sound. I've played in front of 10,000 before. I couldn't tell you what anybody was doing in the front row, let alone anywhere in that crowd. And I don't necessarily think you can put this squarely on Travis Scott. Is that his name? Travis Scott? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't put it on him. There's multiple people. However, since he's the figurehead and he's the person that people came to see, he will get sued early and often. And I believe this may be the undoing of him financially. The insurance that he had on this thing cannot cover all of the people pouring in from all sides trying to get money. Not the victims that passed away, but not just them, but then you have people that were injured. Then you have people that are just, let me get some money since everybody trying to get some money. I am 5'7" on a good day. And there was a guy, I heard a story on another podcast where the guy was saying he was in the crowd and he's 5'8". He said when the crowd came together and there were so many people surging, he says his feet were not on the ground. And if the crowd wanted to go left, he went left. His whole body was up in the air, going left, going right, going forward, going backwards. And his feet were not on the ground. And this is a grown man. You don't stand a chance in a crowd like that. And if you know a crowd like that's going to happen, you're going to have to put it on more than Travis Scott. You're going to have to put it on security. You're going to have to put it on the police. You're going to put it on the venue, the production company. I just don't think Travis Scott is like the sole guy that should be taken off. But when this is said and done, all said and done, Travis Scott won't even be able to afford to go to a concert. They're going to sue the black off his ass.
For example, I've had situations where I've performed in front of a crowd and they get kind of rowdy, and my responsibility is either two things. I stop the show and wait for everybody to calm down, or I just walk out. But even then, that's a catch-22, because if I decide to leave the stage, that's where things just get much worse. And I add, instead of being a solution, I become the problem and all that. So I'm looking from that situation from the perspective of Travis Scott. Did he do the right thing? Or who's held accountable? The musician? Because I feel like our job is to provide entertainment services, or the people behind the scenes, the production company, the security. Who, in your opinion, should be held accountable for the tragedy? Because it's like in between the lines.
You see, Ray Mello, what I'm hearing is that you over there in Abu Dhabi and you rocking the crowd so much, you take your shirt off and it's pandemonium, and you say if they don't straighten it out, you just gonna leave. And if you leave, it's gonna get even crazier. Good Lord, Ray. Yo, I need to come over there and visit you, man. Let me know when it's cool. I'll do it. I don't know if it's ever gonna be cool. But I appreciate it, and I hear what you're saying. You do have a responsibility as an artist, but first and foremost, you got to actually know what's going on in the moment in order to be able to stop the show. I mean, They were saying that they thought canceling the show after it was already declared a mass casualty event would have caused a riot, which, man, it was a lose-lose. But let's not act like that this Travis Scott thing is such a big deal. And it is, because it's in the social media in this 2020, the most current evolution of the wave that happens in social media. And there are countless amounts of concerts that have had fatalities and have had people injured and have had crowd rush. It's not like Travis Scott has invented this. And I don't like the way it's playing out in the media, because it's kind of making him look like a boogeyman when he was just really trying to make people boogie.
SBK, you the man. You the man, boy. Glad you came back. You never really left. But I came back hard. That's all that I care about. Have a good one. Fine, guys.
Yeah, I don't really know who you are because you don't identify yourself, but I like your enthusiasm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you're going to come back, bro, you can't come back soft. Like, you ain't even back then. You know, why'd you come back soft? Hey, yeah, I came back, but it's soft. It's mad soft. Now, we ain't doing soft. All we doing it is hard.
When's the last time that you watched Boys in the Hood? I actually just played it on Hulu the other day. Kind of holds up, man. Not a bad show. Except for Cuba Gooding Jr.'s a little bit of style he thinks he has in that movie. Everything else pretty much holds up, man. Fingers.
All right. How y'all gonna just let Smokey, James from Denver, call the show every week, just high as hell, just rambling, watching boys in the... Yo, if you ever want to comment or call up with the topic for the show, feel free to do so anytime during the week. 407-276-0619. The number to call is on soulbrotherkevin.com. It's also on the, it's in the show notes. So you can call up with any topic. If you want to see what I think about something, just let me know. That's actually the way I'm trying to build the show, is people asking me my take on current events and topics and just ideas and concepts that you think about. But Smokey killing me. Nah, it does hold up. I thought Cuba Gooding Jr. was whack at the time, trying to say that he had style or whatever. But I think that that's kind of the thing that they were trying to say, that when we're young like that in high school, none of us had style, but we thought we did. And that's all that mattered. You had a couple of girls, bruh, like trying to holler, holler, holler. But you good to go then. You just do your thing. Who's this right here calling? Okay, we have to do this. We're in the middle of a deal. No, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to screen the call. Man. Damn it. I meant to say no. Wait, hold on. No, I meant to call you. I'm horrible. Okay.
SBK. This is James from Denver. I just wanted to discuss something with you. I know you watch those verses, the shows, but I wanted to talk some actual verses with you, man. A lot of the stuff that I think Method Man got the verse of the year for either the Lemon verse or the Cheddar Bang one. I forget which one it was, but I think we need to discuss some actual verses. We need to get deep into this, okay? I'll call you back here. Thanks for the shows, man. Peace. Fingers.
And at this point, my phone is ringing. James from Denver is going to keep blowing up the line, and you've run me off of the show. I got to go, but I appreciate you being here. Next week, another show. Until then, soulbrotherkevin.com. Call the show, click like and subscribe, leave a comment. Don't give me 4 stars. Give me 5, please. And don't mess with the algorithm. Don't play with me. Holla at your boy. Fingers.